Once upon a time, in a big city in the heart of Tanzania, in Africa, there lived a young beautiful lady named Asha. Asha is beautiful, tall and very attractive. She came from a very poor family. Her parents did their best to send her to one of the best private universities in the country, where she met Jamila and Zohora, who became her closest friend. Jamila and Zohora are from very rich families and they have been friends from childhood, but due to Asha's height, beauty and physique, they decided to become friends with her till they graduated from university, and they remain friends. Asha, who works 2 jobs a day to be able to help her family, works as a personal assistant to a lawyer named Barrister Chitondo. In the evenings she works in a gym where she teaches aerobics just for extra cash to be able to support and pay back the money her parents borrowed to send her to school. Due to Asha's beauty and physique, all the men in the gym liked her and wanted to be friends with her, but she was not interested in any relationship. All she concentrated on was her job and helping her family pay back all the loans they took to send her to school. It's been 1 year since Asha, Jamila and Zohora graduated from the university, but Jamila and Zohora still have no jobs because they were not interested in getting any job. Jamila's father asked her to come and occupy a position in one of his companies. As she resumed and worked for a week, she decided she is not interested in working, while Zohora told her parents that she wants to start her own fashion show in America. They gave her all the money she needs and supported her. So Zohora took her friend Jamila along to America, where they spent all the money and came back to Tanzania without any results. Jamila and Zohora became bored and confused, while Jamila's father told her she must find a man and get married since she doesn't want to work. That was when they decided to reconnect with their university friend Asha. Asha, who was always busy, invited them to join the gym where she works, and with Jamila's desperation to find a man to marry, she agreed and they joined the gym. After 2 to 3 times of visiting the gym, they fell in love with the gym and the people that comes to the gym, especially the men who were well built and looked very attractive. So they registered and became members, attending all the classes including the aerobic classes that Asha, their friend, was teaching. As they continued attending the gym, Jamila, who was in a search for a husband, fell in love with one of the gym instructors, a tall, well-built, handsome man named Marco. She did her best to get Marco to notice her, but later discovered that Marco has eyes for Asha. This made her angry. She told her friend Zohora what was going on, but Zohora told her not to worry, that there are many guys who are good looking in the gym. But Jamila was not happy. She said, "We have always lost everything to Asha. In school, all the good looking guys wanted her. They were not looking our way, and even now, all the good looking guys at the gym wants her. I see how they all look at her. If I hang around her, I will never find a husband." Zohora tried to make Jamila look at other men, but Jamila was not willing to try someone else. She wanted Marco by all means. Marco is a very simple, good-looking guy. He doesn't talk much and keeps to himself most times. He works in the gym both morning and evening sections, so he is always there. But Asha only comes in the evening to teach her classes, and the evening section is always packed because of Asha's beauty and how well she knows the workout exercise. So Jamila decided to show up every morning to bring gifts to Marco. He will accept it and tell her thank you, but he didn't take any interest in her. After a few months, one day, Jamila came in the evening with Zohora to find Marco talking with Asha and they both laughing. Jamila immediately became angry. She said to Zohora, "I threw myself at this man, but instead he is throwing himself to Asha, who doesn't even want him." Zohora tried to tell her to let it go, but Jamila said she will fix Asha. 2 days later, Jamila invited Asha and Zohora to a ladies' night out. She booked the VIP of a very expensive restaurant. As they all got there, it was a night to catch up on their past life in the university, and they all really enjoyed themselves. But Asha started feeling sleepy and said she wanted to leave. Jamila offered to send a driver to take her home, so the driver came and took her and left. Then Jamila started laughing and said, "It is done." Zohara became scared. She asked her, "What did you do? Did you poison her drink?" Jamila said, "Yes, but not to kill her. She will sleep for at least 2 days, and I must have Marco." Zohara was confused. She said, "Where is the driver taking her to?" Jamila smiled and said, "To the lion's den. Since she said she is strong and the best at everything, she must go and live in the wild. Let me see how she will survive there." Zohara was scared. She shouted, "Where is the driver taking her to?" Jamila replied, "Taranjai, in the heart of the forest." Zohara said, "Why are you this heartless? Do you know what you have done? She can get killed." Jamila said, "Well, that is her problem. I have stood and watched her always beat us at everything. I cannot stand aside and watch her have my man. Marco belongs to me." Zohara said, "I am not part of this. If this blows up, I will deny everything. I don't know how you could be so wicked to a friend that tried to help you. Asha has never done anything bad to us, not even once. She helped you write some of your final exams. She helped us with our projects. And this is how you pay her back." Jamila said, "That was a long time ago, but I won't allow a daughter of a nobody come between me and a man I love. But cheer up, nobody will find out. The driver is a professional." Zohara stood up and left in anger, while Jamila sat there and continued drinking and laughing. The next day, Asha is seen in the open ground in the deep forest of Taranjai. She was still sleeping due to the drugs Jamila added to her drink. Some vultures saw her and thought she was dead, so they came and surrounded her to start feasting on her body. As they came closer to her, Asha woke up. As she looked around, she was confused and scared. She shouted, "What am I doing here? What is going on?" She called out Zora and Jamila's names, but nobody answered. She said to herself, "Am I dreaming? Is this a prank?" She looked around and found her bag on the floor. She picked it up and looked for her cell phone. In the bag, she has her gym wear, small water bottle and a piece of biscuit that she normally eats anytime she is hungry. Her plan was to go back to the gym that evening after they were done with their date night, so she had a bag for her gym things. As she searched the bag, she found her cell phone and tried to make a call, but there was no signal where she was. She tried to follow a path to see if she could get signal to make a call. As she was moving toward a direction where she feels there might be signal, she heard the sound of an animal, like it was coming her way, and she ran back deep into the forest and climbed a very tall tree, looking to see if she could see anything, like houses or something that shows signs of human, but could not see anything. She came down and started walking, facing a direction in the forest. After walking for over 6 hours and carefully looking around, she got a bit tired and sat under a tree to rest. Then she saw a snake near the tree she was sitting. It was an Egyptian cobra. She carefully managed to avoid it and continued moving. By then, the water left in her water bottle was small and she was starting to feel hungry. She took out her little biscuit and took a bite. Being overwhelmed by the situation she found herself in, she fell on her knees and started crying. Then she said, "What did I ever do to Jamila and Zohara for them to do this to me? Where did I ever go wrong with those girls? I thought we were friends." After crying, she realized that she is not going to find a way out of the forest that day, that she needs to save her strength and find where she would rest before night falls. She took out her phone to check maybe there is signal, but there was still no signal on the phone. She said to herself, "Asha, you won't die here. You are too strong to end it all here." She stood up and continued walking. After walking till it was 3 p.m. in the woods, she became very tired and needed to rest. As she looked up, she saw an open plain. The grass was not that tall on that side. she saw elephants walking in groups with their children on the open plain area. She said to herself, "I'm sure there must be water around there. Elephants don't walk far away from water." Then she remembered her camping days when she was still young, how they would go for camping and how they would spend 3 days in the campground, how they would make food with anything they find and how they were taught to survive in the woods. From her knowledge, as someone who has been to several camps in the forest, she knew elephants will attack her for no reason if she gets close to them. So she decided to follow them at a distance to avoid them seeing her, just to see if they would lead her to the water. As she moved slowly toward them, she saw the water in the open plain, and she quickly went to one end of the water, far away from the elephants, to drink and fill her water bottle. As she was there getting water and watching the elephants, a leopard that was watching from far attacked a baby elephant, and immediately all the elephants started making noise and chasing after the leopard. As the leopard ran for his life, it ran toward Asha, who stood her ground and chased the leopard away. But the elephant saw her as an enemy and chased after her. She ran as fast as she could and climbed a tall tree. She was on top of the tree till evening, looking around to see if there is any hope of knowing where she was, but there are no sign of human being anywhere close. As she sat on the tree looking around, she saw a small cave not far from where she was. She broke off a branch from the tree to make a weapon and went to the cave. She remembered her camping days as a young girl. Most times caves normally have snakes or scorpions hiding in them, and the best way to get rid of whatever is in the cave is to set fire in the cave for whatever that lives in it to either run out or die. So Asha had to make fire from stones, since she still remembers what she learned from camp meeting. It took her a while, but Asha managed to make the fire and set fire in the cave. Smoke filled the cave, but nothing came out of it. After a lot of fire was burned in the cave, she cleared the cave. She took some tree branches to create a shade for her to sleep in the cave that night. As the night approached, Asha went into the cave and laid leaves on the floor, broke some branches from the trees to create a protection over the cave. As she was almost done, her stomach rumbled from hunger. Her biscuit was finished and she needed to get something to eat, but she told herself, "It is a bit dangerous at the waterfront. I will have to sleep without food this night. Tomorrow, I will try and see what I can do." She made sure she had enough fire burning in front of the cave as she went in. Later that evening, in the city, Zahara and Jamila came to the gym pretending they didn't know anything, but both Mako and Asha wasn't there. Zahara started to panic, but Jamila told her to get herself together. The gym admin explained that Mako was off for that day, but they can't seem to get hold of Asha. They apologized for the inconveniences. They promised to make sure that a gym instructor will be available the next day. In a compound, people gathered and were crying. Asha's father and mother were there crying. In the center was a closed casket. People were crying and saying, "Who did this to our daughter? What a wicked world." As they sat there crying, one of Asha's father's friend asked Asha's father, "How did this happen? Why would such a promising young girl like Asha die like this?" Asha's father replied, "My friend, I don't know. She fell into the hands of the people she called her friends, and they took advantage of her kind heart." As they cried, her father opened the casket. It was Asha's dead body lying inside the casket. As they looked at her lifeless body, the cry increased. Asha woke up. It was just a dream. She came out of the cave and said to herself, "I will not die here. I will see my family again. This will not end me. I will leave this forest alive and well." Back in the city, Zahara went to the gym alone in the morning out of a guilty conscience. As she got there, she found Mako leading the aerobic section. After they finished, Mako came to her and said, "Hi, how are you?" Zahara replied, "I am fine, and you?" Mako said, "I am good, but I am a bit worried." Zahara said, "What is it? Can I help you?" Mako said, my cousin said she was having a ladies' night with you and your friend Jamila yesterday. Zohara said, what are you talking about? Mako replied, my cousin Asha said, she has a ladies' night with you and your friend, but we have not seen her since then. Zohara was surprised. She said, Asha is your cousin? Mako smiled and said yes, she is. She is the one that helped me get this job. Zohara started sweating. Mako asked, is everything okay? Where is Asha? Zohara said, my friend Jamila thought you are interested in Asha. Mako started laughing. He said, she is my sister, my elder sister, so I respect her a lot. I am only looking out for her. That is what family do. And also, I know your friend Jamila likes me, and I kind of like her too, but my sister Asha said it would be disrespectful for me to date her friend. That was why I never said anything to Jamila. So where is Jamila? I didn't see her today, and also, where is my sister Asha? Zohara said, I will get back to you, and ran out of the gym. She got into her car and started calling Jamila, but Jamila was not picking her calls, so she sent a voice note, saying, hey Jamila, please pick your call, you got it all wrong. Mako is Asha's cousin brother. You have to find a way to get your men to bring back Asha. That girl is innocent. Please get back to me once you get this. She dropped the call, started her car and drove off. Back in the forest, Asha looked very tired and weak. The fire she set at night had died out, but the smoke was still coming from it, so she tried and ignited the fire again. She slowly went to the river, hiding as she went, so she doesn't get exposed and become food for wild animals. As she got there, she tried her best to see if she could catch fish from the water, but after an hour of trying, she couldn't catch anything. She looked at the trees and saw bird next, so she went toward it. As she climbed the tree to see if she can find eggs in the bird next, she saw a snake on top of the tree. Asha quickly jumped down, took the long stick she always goes around with, and killed the snake. She took the snake and went to roast it in the fire for food. Back in the city, Zohara parked her car in front of Jamila's house. After a while, Jamila came out to meet Zohara. She asked her, what is going on? You have been calling me non-stop. Zohara asked her, why are you not picking your calls? Jamila replied, it's her father again. He is busy shouting at her to get married, that her father is making her life a living hell. She feels she needs to move out of the house just to avoid him. Zohara said, well, that is not the problem. The problem is, Asha was innocent. Jamila said, what? What do you mean she is innocent? Zohara replied, I went to the gym this morning and I met Mako. He asked me where is Asha. That Asha told him that we are having a ladies' night out and he has not seen her since then. Jamila said, so what did you tell him? I hope you told him we cancelled. I don't want anybody tracing Asha's disappearance to us. Zohara said, well, I didn't say anything to him, but Asha already told him we were together, and that is a big problem. The second problem is, Mako is Asha's cousin brother. You were wrong to suspect them having an affair. Jamila looked surprised. She said, what? Is that what Mako told you? Zohara replied yes, and Mako said he likes you, but Asha told him that we have friends, are off limits. That is why he did not say anything about his feeling for you. Jamila said, he likes me. Zohara replied, that is not important now. Mako knows that the last people that saw Asha was you and me, and he is asking where is his sister, so you have to look for a way to bring Asha back, or else there is going to be trouble. Jamila thought for a while and said, there is nothing we can do now. It is our word against his. As for Asha, if we manage to bring her back, she will go to the police. That is if she is still alive. I don't want to take that chance right now. Let's just leave this thing to play out. Zohara said, play out how? We will be the first to be interrogated for her disappearance. How will it play out if they don't find her? Jamila stood there for a while in silence, then she said, "There is no going back now, I'm sorry, but it is too late, we will go to the gym this night and I will sort it out." Later that day, in the forest, Asha checked her phone and the battery was getting too low, about to die, so she started walking towards another path in the forest holding up her phone for signal. She said, "I need to get to make one call before my battery dies." As she walked, she came near a small lake, very dirty. You cannot see what is inside the lake. As she raised her phone, she found a little signal on her phone. It was coming in and going out at the same time, so she tried to make a call. She called and was shouting, "Hello, hello, can you hear me?" As she moved her hand closer to the lake, the signal became better. She sent a message to her boss, Barrister Chitondo, but it was showing sending. It never showed delivered, it kept on showing sending, so she tried to call the Barrister Chitondo instead. As the phone rang, and the barrister picked the call, she was shouting hello and the voice of the barrister was coming from the other side, but it was breaking. Out of excitement she decided to get into the lake and pass to the other side. For a clearer reception, immediately she got into the lake, a crocodile attacked her. Her phone fell into the lake and she managed to swim out of the water. The crocodile started coming out of the water after her and she ran for her life. By then, she had received a cut on her hand, and little blood was coming out of it. As she sat under the tree, she took a piece of cloth and tied the place to avoid infections. All her body was muddy from the lake she went in, so she had to change her cloth and wear the gym clothes that she had in her small bag. As she sat there crying, praying to God that Barrister Chitondo will find a way to get help, she heard sound of elephants coming her direction, so she went back to the cave. Later that evening, Jamila and Zahara walked into the gym and Mako came straight to meet them and asked them, "Where is Asha? It's been 2 days, anyone heard from her, where is she?" Jamila said, "But we have no idea. We cancelled the ladies' night out and we have not seen her ever since." Mako said, "Why are you lying? Did something bad happen to my sister?" Jamila said, "Why do you think we are lying? She is our friend. If we have seen her, I will have said so." Mako said, "I called Asha that evening. She told me you guys are in a hotel restaurant. I was calling her to know if I should take her shift that evening, so she can spend more time with you guys. And she said I can come to the gym and wait for her. But if she don't make it back on time, I must take her class." She never came back here, and since then, I have not seen her. So where is Asha? Zahara started panicking. Jamila said, "You got me," and smiled. She said, "Asha is in the car outside. We have something we are working on, so she needed some time off." Mako said, "I want to see her now." Zahara looked at Jamila confused. As they walked toward Jamila's car, in the dark park of the gym parking lot, the driver that took Asha came out from behind and hit Mako with something on the head and he fainted. Zahara shouted in fear. Jamila tried to calm her down. The driver carried Mako into a minibus and drove off. Zahara started crying. She said, "Jamila, what are you doing? Are you going to take Mako to the same place? Why are you doing this?" Jamila said, "Relax, I will not do that to him. I love him. I just want to keep him in somewhere till I decide on what to do with him. Don't worry, he will be well taken care of." Zahara replied, "I don't know who you are anymore. You are going too far with this, and I am not part of it." She got into her own car and left. Early the next morning, as Asha woke up and was trying to come out of her cave, she saw a bunch of female lions afar, drinking water at the small river. She quickly hid herself in the cave watching them. For more than 6 hours, the lions stayed around the water, waiting to see if any animal would come around. Asha stayed in the cave sweating and hungry. The snake meat she ate the previous day was left a little, but she could not move to get it. She was trying to avoid noise at all costs. After 12 hours of waiting patiently, the lions finally moved away from the water. but Asha was scared to come out. She managed to get the meat she had kept and started eating it, with the little water she had in her water bottle. She stayed there till she dozed off. That afternoon, in the city, Jamila and Zahara were asked to come down to the police station. As they got there, they discovered that Asha's parents have filed a missing persons report. So the search for Asha had started and the police wanted to know when last they saw her. They denied knowing anything about where she could be. They told the police they invited her for a ladies' night out but she never showed up. The police noticed that Zahara was scared, so they wanted to detain her for further questions, but her father called the police chief and asked them to let her daughter go, so they released both of them. Later that day, Zahara was in her room crying, and her phone rang. It was Jamila. She told her, "Girl, you got to be strong, nobody will touch us, our parents are rich and untouchable, we cannot go down because of that loser of a girl." Zahara said, "I know you never liked Asha very much, you have always seen her as a competition due to her height and beauty, since we were in school, but I thought that ended after school. You didn't need to go this far, now look at what you are putting me through. If I had known you were planning this, I would have stopped you, but I had no idea. Jamila, I am really scared. I know we have done some dumb stuff in our lives, but I have never taken anybody's life or be a part of this kind of thing ever in my life." Jamila said, "Relax, you worry too much, that is the reason I didn't tell you my plans. Besides, you had nothing to do with it, it was my plans, my hitman, my arrangement, so all you need to do is simply say, you don't know anything and that will be truth enough, just stay calm, okay, we will be fine." Okay. The call ended. Zahara was still sitting in her bed thinking, and another call came in. She picked the phone, and a voice said, "I know what you and your friend did. I have all the evidence. If you don't want to go to jail or ruin your father's reputation, meet me at the park. I will send you the details. And little girl, if you call your friend to inform her, it will be all over the news before you drop the call." Zahara was scared. Her heart was beating very fast. She said to herself, "Who could this be?" As she was thinking of what to do, an SMS came into her phone. It was from the number that just called her. Back in the forest, Asha came out crawling slowly toward the river. As she crawled, she had her long stick that you cut off from a tree branch as protection. As she got to the water, she drank some water and was trying to fill her water bottle. As she looked back, she saw a male lion coming to drink water. The lion didn't see her. She saw the lion first. Immediately she remembered her camping days. When a young boy named Daweshi asked a question to their camp leader, "What do you do when you are faced with a lion?" Their camp leader replied, "Look the lion in the eyes, show no fear, stand your ground, shout as loud as you can, like a warrior. Never turn your back on the lion or it will attack. If you show any sign of fear, it will attack. Then you pull back gently, facing the lion." Immediately, Asha stood up, holding her tall tree branch, staring at the lion face to face. The lion stood still, looking at Asha. Asha screamed at the top of her voice as loud as she could, and stamped her tall stick on the floor. The lion ran back out of fear, and she pulled away slowly, as the lion stood there looking at her. As she got far away enough, she made a run for it. By then she was far enough from the lion. It chased after her and she went into the cave and covered it with the sticks she made. As the lion came close to the entrance, she poked it on the eyes with her stick. The lion shouted in pain and ran away. In the city, Zahara got to the park and sat there. After a while, a dark short man came and sat next to her. He introduced himself as Barrister Chitondo and asked Zahara, who looked very scared, "Do you know who I am?" Zahara replied, "Yes, you are that human activist lawyer." Barrister Chitondo smiled and said, "So you know what I am capable of?" Zahara said, "Yes, I do." Then the barrister said, "Tell me the whole truth about Asha, or else I will make sure you go to jail, you and your friend, and I will ruin your father's reputation in this country." Zahara started crying. She said, "It is all Jamila's plan. I had nothing to do with it, Barrister said. Can you prove it? Zohara said, no, I can't, but I witnessed everything, including the kidnap of Marco. I will tell you everything I know. Back in the forest, Asha was still in her cave hiding. Rain started falling, and the water was coming into the cave. After a long rainfall, half of the cave was filled with rain. Asha was sure the lions would have left, so she came out of the cave as the rain was stopping. The day was already getting dark. Due to the water that came into the cave, Asha could not sleep in that cave that night, and also she could not be able to make fire, because the whole place was wet, including the sticks she had gathered. She told herself, I will not die here. Asha will see my family again. As she looked up, she saw smoke coming from a far distance. It looked like they were burning something, so she quickly took her bag and started heading toward the smoke. After walking for a while, she could see the smoke more clearer, coming from a very far distance, but the day was already getting dark. As she moved toward the direction of the smoke, she kept looking around to be sure she is not in danger of being attacked by any animal. She walked till it became too dark and difficult for her to see, so she looked for a place to spend the night. She saw a tall tree with lots of strong branches, and she went and checked very well to be sure there were no snakes on the tree. Then she climbed the tree to spend the night. Asha was in the office receiving a phone call. Barrister Chitondo walked in and told her to print out the file for the case he has to attend that afternoon by 2 p.m. She replied, yes sir. Then he asked her, what other lineup do we have for today? Asha looked at a book and replied, you have a 12 o'clock meeting with Dr. Foroji, who should be on his way here by now. Then you said to remind you to phone Barrister Mwamba, to see if they have reached an agreement on the land dispute case. And finally, you said you would like to file a case against Mr. Godfrey, later today. Yes, Barrister Chitondo replied. And you said Mr. Godfrey is your friend's father. Asha replied, yes sir. Which friend is that again? Asha said, Jamila, we went to university together. Barrister Chitondo smiled and said, that man is very rich and powerful, but he exploits his workers and takes advantage of the poverty level of our country to maltreat people anyhow he likes. I would not tell you to stop being friends with his daughter, but the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You need to be careful. Do you understand? Asha replied, yes sir. Asha woke up from sleep. It was a dream. She was still lying on the tree branch. She said to herself, Barrister Chitondo warned me about Jamila. I didn't listen. As she looked, there was a rattlesnake charged, looking at her. As she was about to move, the snake struck and bit her on the hand. Asha jumped down from the tree, looked for something and tied her hand. She used water from her water bottle to wash the place the snake bit her. Then she took her long stick that she carries around and killed the snake. She knew she had less than 40 minutes before the venom starts spreading all over her body. If she decides to walk to the nearby village, the venom will spread faster and she might die quicker, so she just laid still on the floor, next to the dead snake. Tears came down her eyes. She smiled and said, Asha, you will not die here. God, please, help me. It's her 4th day in the forest, and she was really exhausted by the whole thing. As she laid there, after a while she started sweating. Then she closed her eye. Then the sound of helicopter was heard. After a while, the doctors were seen in the hospital, trying to resuscitate Asha, who had stopped breathing. They used the defibrillator to try and bring her back. After a while her heart started beating again. Asha pulled through. 3 days later, Asha woke up in the hospital. She was surprised to be alive. The doctor came in to tell her she is so lucky to have pulled through, that it was a miracle. Barrister Chitondo came to the hospital and told Asha that he received her text before her cell phone signal vanished, but after he threatened Zohara, she told them all they needed to know: how Jamila drugged her, and hired a hitman to dump her body to be eaten by wild animals, but Jamila denied the whole thing until Zohara produced her phone with all the voice record where Jamila confessed to everything. Asha asked, so Zohara was not part of it? Barrister Chitondo said, she was not part of it. She never knew her friend had such evil intentions toward you, but she would have been arrested as accomplice to murder and kidnap if she didn't come forward with the whole information. Asha asked, where is Jamila now? Barrister Chitondo said, she is in the police custody. Her father is doing everything possible to get her out of there, but I have been looking for a way to bring him to court for all the people he has been maltreating in this country, so we might need to settle this out of court. If he agrees to deal wisely with his staffs and sign an agreement to treat them better, or we will pursue this case and make sure Jamila goes to jail for a long time. So we are still negotiating at the moment, but don't worry, no matter what we agree on, Jamila will not go unpunished, that I can promise you. 3 months later, Asha was discharged from the hospital. Jamila was sentenced to 5 years in prison for kidnap of Marco and Asha, and also for attempted murder. Her father paid Asha 10 million for the damages done to her and for her treatment, while Zohara's father gave Asha 2 million just to support her health and recovery. He also encouraged her daughter Zohara to cut ties with Jamila and make sure she keeps friends like Asha, who are sincere and don't have evil intentions. Marco was also given 5 million by Jamila's father for his health. 6 months later, Jamila's father managed to get Jamila released and sent her out of the country, never to come back again. Zohara apologized to Asha and they became friends again. Marco and Zohara started a relationship, and Asha, who had always wanted to be a lawyer, graduated with first class in the university, and had also done well in law school, but due to lack of training, became a personal assistant to Barrister Chitondo, now became a partner at Barrister Chitondo's firm. She ended up paying back all the money that her parents spent to send her to school, and also established her family in big businesses. So finally, Asha, a struggling young lady who was working as hard as she could, just to pay off the loans her family took to send her to university and also to law school, has finally become a millionaire. But she still goes to the same gym to train people. She became more popular due to the publicity of the court case against Jamila, the billionaire's daughter. Whenever Asha tells her story, she will say, if you ever go into the deep forest of Taranjai and find a lion with one eye, just know that I, Asha, did that to that lion and survived. Story ends. Moral of this story: when you make a person your friend, put that person to test to see if the person has also made you a friend, because the heart of man is desperately wicked. Secondly, make God your best friend, because He will never let you down. I remain Uncle Sam. Stay safe.